Thank you, Secretary, for your time today. I really appreciate you taking some time to be with us today. Mr. Secretary, the state of California has adopted a regulation targeting emissions of locomotives, and they are seeking authorization from EPA to begin enforcing that regulation. The regulation requires that railroads operating in California must quickly begin adopting zero-emission technology for locomotives, technology that is currently not commercially available. The EPA authorizes, if the EPA authorizes California's regulation, supply chains across the country would be in danger due to the operational and financial restraints placed on the railroads. For that reason, numerous groups representing manufacturers, businesses, farmers, ranchers weighed in, with the EPA expressing significant concerns. One of the reasons why I bring this up is 65% of the national locomotive fleet touches California. And we're obviously 40 million people. We have major ports all along the coast, moving products. I think 167 million tons of freight that were moved by rail in California in 2021. Employs thousands of people. It's huge for our economy. Where do you stand on this, and how do you plan to move forward on this? Hopefully some common sense will prevail here.
So when it comes to railroad regulation, our authorities mostly relate to the physical safety and safe operation of locomotives and railroads, and are in that sense neutral to forms of propulsion or air pollution issues that might be the jurisdiction of the EPA. I would have to refer you to the EPA for anything more on their rule. I'm not as familiar with it, again, given that our authorities typically have more to do with physical safety.
It is the EPA that's going to have this position, but you're the one that's going to be left holding the bag when, again, it's controlling or having an impact on not just California citizens across the country. If 65% of the locomotives in the country are touching California and are being delayed because of having either changed engines or completely remove engines off the fleet, it's going to have an impact, and you're going to be the one to blame, because when they think locomotives, they don't think EPA. They're thinking Secretary of Transportation.
I mean, our experience in this regard probably is mostly more in the realm of the CAFE rule that I was discussing with Mr. Rutherford. Certainly, corporations tend to resist regulations to have cleaner air. Our job is to try to make sure that we strike a reasonable balance between what's feasible and what's going to lead to fewer harms from pollution. And certainly are hopeful that our supply chains can become both more efficient and greener at the same time. But again, I say that without professing to have more knowledge than I do about the pending EPA rule or California rule.
So 1.6 billion tons of goods are moved nationwide, and the EPA's own numbers, only 2% was from locomotives of all the greenhouse gas emissions. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about a very small amount. I mean, you can move a huge amount of goods with very little fuel, but they play such a vital role. Over the last few years, and I know your office was really helpful on this, but we struggled a lot with moving goods. We had cattle all across California were running out of feed at feed mills because we move in so many goods from Canada and from the Midwest to feed animals. But there was even a point in time where we were on the verge of running out of cement at our concrete plants to stop construction in our major areas. I mean, these are things that have a huge impact on housing prices, food, every other item that is on a storefront. And when you look at greenhouse gas emissions, locomotives are such a small part of it, but when you look at the overall part of what they play in moving goods across the country, this is a huge issue for us, and we have to take this with, we really do have to pay some attention to it. And shifting just a little bit, you were in Vegas the other day for the high-speed rail. One comment that you made that stood out to me, because high-speed rail in California, they broke ground in 2015, was that this was going to be the first true high-speed rail. What do you mean by that, and why is California, 10 years into this project, construction already started, why is Las Vegas is going to be done before ours?
Well, Las Vegas is, the Las Vegas to Rancho Cucamonga project follows a unique right-of-way, the bulk of which is actually basically shooting down the middle of the median of I-15. It's part of how they were able to establish the project timelines that they were. So my remark, I should, to be very specific, it is not the first true high-speed rail to break ground. What I mean by that is we project to be the first high-speed rail to be in service in terms of revenue rise. Their goal is to be in operation by 2028. They've got an eye on the Olympics, and so we're excited that that would be happening sooner. The North-South project, which we also believe in, are investing in, but recognize has a much more complex right-of-way picture, is on a longer timeline than the Bright Line West project.
All right. Thank you, and I yield back.